All right, guys, welcome to another episode of The Mortgage Coach. I am pleased to have one of my best friends on here. His name is Mr. Grant Beatrix. This is a guy that I have known, since I think like second or third grade, something like that, right around there. He came over from South Africa. He claims to be South African, but he's been here his whole life. Name is spelled Grant, but you pronounce it Grant. Mr. Beatrix, owner of the company SlotDaddySD. Here's some quick stats from my guy to give him some credibility before we jump into things. 18,000 followers, 13,000 posts on Instagram. We have 20,000 followers on TikTok, 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. And then I just learned about a new app today, Clapper. We got 25,000 subscribers on Clapper. So before we jump into things, right, I want to talk about something here. So March 12th, 2022, I took a look at this yesterday, was Slot Daddy's first post on Instagram. Within that first post, you had 9 likes. 4 of them were all of our high school buddies. 3 comments. And then fast forward to one of your most recent posts I saw on Instagram. Just within the last few days, you have your pup on your lap, and that post had 19,000 likes and 250 comments. So share with the listeners, brother, or anybody that's aiming to grow their business or their social media presence, the journey that brought you to where you are today.
Sure, man. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. This is fun.
Yeah,
to talk shit to you on a mic. So
there you go, buddy.
Yeah. So 2021 March, we're still in COVID territory, right? We're in kind of lockdowns, and one of the few things that you could do comfortably was go to a casino. And I've always been a gambler, and throughout 2020 and 2021, it's like everybody's kind of reinvestigating their own lives, trying to figure it out. What's it's all about? What are we doing? We're stuck at home with spouses that we love or hate.
Yeah, of course.
Or children that are, probably tearing it up. I didn't have kids at the time, so I don't know, but I'm sure everyone was just trying to figure out outlets and things to do. And for me, I was watching a lot of Vegas was open pretty much the whole time, right? And
yeah.
So I was watching a lot of online slot influencers or slot streamers, whatever you want to call them.
And here's some backstory, not to cut you off. Grant's been gambling since gambling. I mean, we were 15, 16 years old.
Yeah, I took my brother's fake ID to Verona.
Yeah, I mean, we were going to Verona at a young age.
Yep.
It didn't matter how much money we had, $50, $75. We were gambling, playing some slots. It didn't matter. We were with the boys, right?
I went with 20 once.
Yeah.
The least amount.
Exactly, right? So we just drop 20 in, win or lose, see if we can double up and get that out of there. So Grant's been interested in gambling, I guess we can say, for some time. So go on.
For sure. And anyway, so, there's some guys out there that have been doing this for 10 years, right? And I think that's probably like the tip of the eye, or whatever. 10 years is probably the max. I don't think I've seen anyone that's been around for like 20 years doing this, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously YouTube and all these social media apps and everything like that, that's what it takes to become a streamer. And you have to have the outlet to put your content on, and they didn't really exist. I mean, they existed, but they, it wasn't a thing. So
yeah.
I started finding, what happened was I was just scrolling through Instagram, see somebody post a video on a slot machine. I was like, oh, wow. And I started looking at their page, and oh my gosh, this is cool. Like they're posting slot videos, like, and this is entertaining. And I can't go to the casino right now because I'm taking this seriously. I'm quarantined, I'm locked down. I took it seriously at the beginning. I think we all did. And so that was an outlet for me. It was a way to entertain myself that wasn't just staring at a TV, even though I'm just staring at my phone. But I think we did a lot of that, right? A lot of Netflix, Squid Game, whatever you want to say. We're doing all that. And so I found one guy, his name was D-Lucky, and he was live streaming too. So that was cool for me. It's like in real time watching this guy hit jackpots, and all I want to do is go to the casino.
It gave you something. It's kind of like watching golf on TV for, those golfers. I mean, I don't think NFL football does that, right? You're not like, hey, I want to go play football.
No.
But for me, being a golfer, right, I can watch golf, see guys strike the ball, right, hit a good shot. I'm like, damn, I want to get out on the course. So same kind of thing.
100%.
Okay, got it.
And so I thought to myself, there is nothing stopping me from recording my wins at a casino, or at least my bonuses. And
yeah.
So that's what I did.
And you have had success, right? You're one of my friends.
Yeah, with gambling.
With gambling, and listen, and there's not a lot of people that can say that, right? But truthfully, Grant, I mean, dude, in our early 20s, I mean, you were hitting jackpots like it was nothing, and you were taking care of the boys too. I know because I was a broke 20-year-old, and you were paying for my bar tabs back in the day from some of your casino winnings. So I was a big fan of it.
Yeah. I mean, there was days, at 18, 19, 20, 21, where I'd be walking around with fucking $8,000 in my pocket.
Yeah.
That I won the night before and like be giving big tips for no damn reason.
I remember those days, bro.
We
go to Chin's and eat like kings. That we'd get the poo platters and
Charlie's fortune cookie.
Charlie's Mordred Ruby and Rancho Dorado. No free shout outs. Are they still around?
They are not.
Yeah.
I think the siblings and Charlie and the uncle started other things. There's other restaurants out there, but not called Charlie's.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I went to the casino a couple times. I got a bunch of content at whatever cost it was, and then that first post you saw, and first of all, fuck you. There's 4 of our high school friends. Bullshit. It
was Air Artie. I looked at the names.
One
Lums. Air Artie, Lums. Yeah, I'll go down the line here. I listen. I knew you were gonna call me out on it. That's why I did my homework.
I told very few people for the first year of this. So
well, I remember when we
told you after a year.
Was that after a year?
At Islands in Lake Forest, or wherever.
Yeah, in Lake Forest. That's what I was telling Corbin about. By the way, I forgot to shout out Corbin, our videographer, the man behind the scenes. He does it all, sets everything up for us. We're very blessed to have him. He'll be talking on the mic as well, asking questions. So cool. Shout out Corbin. But I remember when we met you were up in Orange County for something. I was like, let's grab some lunch. And we were sitting down and you were telling me about the concept. And I had already heard rumblings through our friends, right? You know how the buds are, right? Yeah. I started hearing rumblings. Grant's doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm thinking, hey, whatever. Like, everything he's done, he's been successful at. And it doesn't mean that you're a millionaire. What I mean is a majority of the things you've done in life, you've had success at, whether it's working at a restaurant, whether it was managing a band, and now Slot Daddy, aside from your 9 to 5, right? No. So we met there. You told me about the concept. And then from there, I think is when I started to kind of follow and really pay attention to what you were doing. But even like going back and doing research for this interview, I didn't fully understand, right? Just right now, I learned that you have 20,000 TikTok, call it 14,000 YouTube. I mean, I'm somebody who's currently trying to build my social media following. I understand how hard it is to keep that online presence. How are you posting so much? How are you keeping people engaged? Do you have a general idea of what's working, what isn't? Like, is it just jackpots? Give me an idea.
Yeah. So, I think in the beginning, and it's evolving, and as things do, Instagram was really all about pushing reels. So when I started my page, reels were a big thing. And if you posted a reel with some good music, a good track on it that was trending or whatever, you could get that reel to get boosted, and all of a sudden you're on the For You page and you're getting tons of clicks, tons of views. Some of the things that set me up.
Did you stumble upon that?
No, I just Googled it, honestly, like right in the beginning, and like I was like, how do I grow an Instagram page? And there was like all these just like dots of like, or whatever, bullet points of different ideas to grow an Instagram page. And one of the things was like use trending audio, and have a good cover photo or good cover that grasps people's attention.
Corbin's always telling me to add music to my stuff. So
yeah, so for your pods, you don't want to have like a loud track in the background, but you could mute the track and have it in the background, and it could still, because it's a trending audio, could still help push your reel to another level, right? It could
hold on, say that one more time so everybody understands.
So when you're building a reel on Instagram, let's say you just take a clip from your pod and you throw
a minute long clip. We're talking.
It has to be 30 to 90 seconds, right? Okay. Or actually, it can be less than 30. But anyways, 30 to 90 seconds is a sweet spot, I think. And even less than 90, or like more like 75. But anyways,
please don't ever make that face again. Go on.
Yeah. So you put the reel in there, and then you go to the audio selection and you look for something trending, and you can just Google it too, like what's trending on Instagram right now from the audio perspective. You put the audio on, and then there's volume controls, and you put your volume all the way up from your original content.
Okay.
And then take the audio that you're adding's volume all the way down
from a trending song. Maybe.
And so what it'll do is it'll underlie in the reel. It'll even say the song on the bottom, but nobody will be able to hear it. And like I've had people comment like, "Oh, I wish you like had the volume up on this. I love Gangster's Paradise by Coolio." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I posted that video when Coolio died, and that was a trending audio at the time. And that video did very well. So
what is very well?
I don't know. I think anything over 50,000 views is good.
Yeah.
You spoke about likes earlier.
You focus
and
more on
comments.
the views than you do the likes.
Views and shares. I think
Okay.
shares are really important. I posted a video yesterday that was stupid Mike Evans saying I'm going to go to the casino after
Yeah, I saw
after
that.
him breaking the record. It got 60 likes, which is nothing for my page. It's because I remixed it from another person's reel. So normally when you kind of steal content or take content, Instagram doesn't reward you. But it got shared a ton.
Yeah.
I mean, normally my post gets shared 20 times. That video with the dog got shared 10,000 times, right? So the shares are really important because that means your content is getting exposed to other people.
Got you.
Without you having to do anything. Another human is clicking that share button, posting it on their story, or sending it to their friends. That's where you really want to get. You want to get to a point where somebody looks at it and says, I want to share this with another person. And that's what we do all day. I send you videos, dumbass videos.
Yeah, of course.
And you look at those videos that I send you, and I bet you they have 1 million shares on them.
Yep, exactly.
A couple 100,000.
I look at them all the time, and I'm thinking, how are these? I mean, yeah, it's a funny video, but how is this getting circulated so much? And that's one of the biggest things for me is, and that kind of gives me some peace of mind, right? I focus so much on likes, and then I get to see my analytics from videos, and I can see that I have 5,000 or 6,000 views, but maybe only 30,000 likes on something. And then I think
30,000?
Huh?
30,000.
Or 30 likes on something. Sorry, yeah, I wish I had 30,000. But long story short, you kind of sit there and think, oh, well, maybe they didn't like it because they didn't like my content, right? Or whatever it may be. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. But truthfully, you're just focusing on, hey, I'm getting exposure from the views. Number one, I want to stay in front of people. And then the shares is what comes next.
Yeah, and then from the shares, from the views, you get follows, and that's the most important metric.
Are you following people back that follow you right away?
Fuck no, I don't give a shit.
You sending them messages?
No.
Nothing.
You just post and hope that people like what you're doing. I think you're more likely to get a follow than you are to get a like sometimes. Like, people just scroll through insert
That's
reels.
true.
I don't like every post. I don't like
Yeah.
anything. My wife likes everything. It's the weirdest thing. I've never seen anybody do it. She scrolls through and she likes every post. I'm like, that's cool. It's nice of you. But I don't
From
do
her
it.
business page?
From her page. From her.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, just from a personal page. And
Because, I mean,
she's just scrolling through reels and she's liking shit.
Grant's wife's an entrepreneur as well.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Yeah. What's Sammy's business?
Sammy's a food truck owner, all pink, women-owned, Baby's Badass Burgers. Actually, I think they're just going by Baby's Burgers now.
Shout out Baby's Burgers. No free shout outs. Great burger. Have had it a few times. They were she had a little storefront for some time.
Brick and mortar in
Brick
Vista.
and mortar.
They closed that down. It was, the location was terrible. It's inside of a public house, collab public house. No free shout outs.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the business model was a good idea. The location was terrible. I think it was really poorly run. So I hope they do see my shout out.
And then before I jump into anything else, I want you in just 30 seconds explain what Slot Daddy is for the listeners and people that don't know.
Absolutely. So it's primarily slot machine content. I go to a casino, I stream it, I live stream it, or I record it and then post it later. Where we are either engaging with other gamblers, people that are fans of gambling, people that can't gamble in their state because there aren't casinos locally. Mm-hmm. It's a good way for them, good outlet for them to go and watch some live, casino play. But really, it's all about gambling. I try to keep it healthy in a sense that when I'm live, I talk about gambling responsibly, making good decisions, taking your wins when you have them, cutting your losses when you can, and never gambling anything more than you can afford to lose. If you walk into that casino with $100, expect to lose that $100. Gambling is a losing sport.
100%.
Yep.
So then tell everybody, watching, like, what type of adversities did you deal with? Building this business, because it is a business, right? I want to make that very clear.
It's a business.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a business.
Yeah.
Filed with the state and all that fun stuff. And I write it off on my taxes every year. So
beautiful.
As far as adversity, my bank didn't like all the transactions, so I got kicked out of a bank. That wasn't great.
Interesting. You would never think about that.
Yeah. So from like crypto transactions for online gambling, the ins and outs of like from Coinbase app and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, deposits of $10,000 or more. They asked a lot of questions. I said, I'm not going to give you all of my receipts. Like, you don't just, what this is my money, right?
Yeah.
I was like super offended anyway. So I got booted from a bank. That's fine. I'm at a credit union now. And then, at first it's tough, man. You get, like you said, 9 likes and you're like, what's the point? What's the point? Nobody's seeing this. I actually think that reel got, the first reel I posted got like 3,000 views and I was so excited.
Heck yeah.
How did this happen?
Heck yeah.
And I gained like 40 followers from it. It was crazy. But yeah, so and still to this day, you get dejected, you hit plateaus with any social media platform. As you grow, you'll start seeing, sometimes you'll see the numbers drop.
Yeah.
And that's because sometimes, no matter what, if you look up anybody's, there's an app called Social Blade. There's other software out there that you can look up people's statistics and how many fake followers they have, how many click farm, users are following them. And I think every single person that has like 10,000 followers or more, at least 5% are synthetic or fake or click farm.
What do you mean by click farm?
So like you can pay, online, you can pay, I can Google it and search, buy Instagram followers. You can buy 100 followers for $10 or whatever, 1,000 followers for 100, whatever. And what that is it's a company that has a click farm in India has a bunch of guys sitting on a bunch of phones and they're sitting there just creating fake profiles and then following you from those fake profiles.
Oh, understood.
And now you see these fake profiles with no picture. They have no followers. They follow, 150 people and there's not even like a profile picture. There's nothing. And, it's just random, sometimes just random letters or numbers. And so with that, not only do people get those types of followers from paying for them, they also just get them. So like, there's a number of like bots and click farm followers out there and like that just are following everybody. And I'm not sure why that is, but yeah, I was talking to one of my online casino guys and he said, I look up everybody's stats. He's like, yours are good. You're like 3%. And I was like, I've never bought a follower in my life.
It automatically happens because understood.
So anybody with a big page,
yeah,
because they either follow a bunch of people to hope like that somebody follows them back.
Yes.
Or, I don't really know the reality of it.
Well, I've realized it, right? I was following everybody that followed me. And then I was like, this person only has like 90 followers. Like, well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? I got no photos, not a ton of. So that's a little bit of what you're talking about there. Tell me about like, aside from the social media presence, which is obviously a big part of your business, but like, how did you cultivate those relationships with casinos and online gambling companies? Like, how'd you make this tangible where you can come home to your wife and say, hey, I'm not just blowing money at a casino, right? This is tangible now, and we can make a living and support our family.
Yeah. So, like you said before, what are the challenges? One of the main challenges was being able to acquire like permission to live stream at casinos or to record, period. I mean,
because were you walking in at first and just live streaming, getting booted?
Getting shut down immediately.
Okay.
The cameras catch you, they walk over, you get a warning. I did it twice at Viejas, and the general manager on the floor came out and she said, "Are you Slot Daddy?" I was like, "Yes." And she's like, "You need to turn your live off. If we catch you again, you're banned for life." And I was like, whoa, like I have spent tens of thousands of dollars at this casino. She's like, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Told you before. Don't do it again. So I had to go out and start honestly, just marketing at, sometimes just throwing in a random, prefix to an email address. You know what the website is, harris.com.
Yeah.
Marketing at harris.com. See if you get an answer and just try. And there's a lot of trial and error. But then also like,
so that's how you built relationships within these casinos in order to be able to start filming live.
To request approval, tell them what I'm doing. And really they look at your page, maybe they look at it and you have 3,000 followers at the time. It's like, why do we need to do this for this guy, right?
Exactly.
So it's really more about building somewhat of a rapport if you can. I'm in sales, from a career perspective, and so it's something that comes naturally to me. But leveraging your hosts make a lot of money off of you, I think. And if you're in there gambling, 3-4 times a week, spending a couple $100 or a couple $1,000, tens of thousands, depends who you are, your host has some kind of affinity for you. They want to help you, and so leveraging the relationship that you've built with the host over 10 years. I mean, my Barona host, I've literally had for almost 20 years now. I mean, we're closing in on 18, and he was there when I started at Barona when I was 18, legally.
So as before we were gambling.
Yeah, before I was using my brother's fake ID.
And Sandra's money. That's Grant's parents. No shout outs.
So yeah, so really leveraging those, but it doesn't mean every tribal casino has a different gaming commission, and so the tribal gaming commissions are pretty strict. Harrah's is owned by Caesars Corp, so I go through the corporation. I have relationships in Vegas. I have relationships locally, and I can leverage those, and it's been great. Sequan, I can do stuff with their marketing team. I still can't record and go live there.
Oh, you can't go live
Nope.
at Sequan.
I can't.
So is that the only place where Slot Daddy can't go live in San Diego County?
I can't do it at Villas. Can't do it at Barona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Harris's
Harrah's, Palma, Pachanga. Like, look, there's what, 12 casinos in San Diego?
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy, man. There's a lot. I was telling my parents yesterday, it's like, if I got to deal with each casino just in San Diego, there's thousands of casinos in the world, but just in San Diego, and charge them a fee for a video, I could make thousands of dollars just in San Diego off the casinos doing one video.
So yeah, so we were talking a little bit earlier about like the money making part, and I was like, hey, is it okay if we talk about this, right? I just want to be respectful to everybody, because not some people like to talk about money, but I know there's no lines with you and I. So how are you making money, or how did you start making money from it originally?
Yeah, so again, it's all about growth, right? You're starting with no followers, and you're trying to figure it out, and so you can't even think about monetizing it until you're at a point where you can bring value to somebody else. And of course, everything we do in life is to try to earn and provide for our family, and that's money's a big part of that. And so going into it, the thought process wasn't like, I'm turning this into a business. It was like, let's just have some fun and see where it goes. And then once it started going, and it was like, okay, what can I do now? It's also costing a lot of money to get this content, right? Like, not every trip to the casino is a big win, right? A lot of them are losses.
Because you're gambling your own money.
I'm gambling my own money.
And you're filming it live.
I'm filming it.
But you made it tangible and started making money because of what?
Yeah, so that next step really was a guy reaching out and saying, hey, actually, I had, I don't know, hundreds of people reach out constantly, but you always think it's a scam. And you take that leap of faith and you think, is this real? How do I test the waters? How do I dip my toe in? And so,
and before you say anything, I saw something on Instagram yesterday, and I don't know if it was Elon or somebody else, and it says that there's a lot of people that passed up on opportunities in life because they thought it was a scam.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty legit. And then it's funny that you say that today, right? You thought it was a scam, so go on. Sorry.
Yeah. So, guy reached out and he said, hey, I work, and his email was scammy. It was like, it wasn't at bovada.com, which is a big online casino platform. It was like Daniel Bovada at, whatever, his Gmail or whatever. So I was like, come to find out, there's tons of these guys out there that work for the online casinos as like a third party talent agent almost, right? And so they bring in people,
like a wrangler.
A wrangler, sure, or a hunter.
Like the guys at the clubs used to go grab all the chicks when everybody else is waiting in line.
Yeah. We didn't need those guys.
Yeah, we didn't need those guys.
But maybe I would now. But back then,
we're a little old now. Yeah, our connections are gone.
We could spend more money.
A few bartenders that are still working that know us, but that's probably about it.
Yeah, maybe a bouncer or two.
Yeah.
So
So this guy reaches out to you. You think it's a scam, right?
Yeah, and then I just started talking to him, and I actually blew him off the first time, and then another friend that does his Slot channel, he reached out and said, this guy reached out to me. I said, okay, let's do this together. Let's take the leap of faith. Sometimes jumping in is easier with a friend, right?
Yeah, of course.
Or spouse or whoever, right? Like, if you have some support, if you have someone like you're gonna go down with me,
Yeah.
almost, or we're gonna go out
Bounce
together.
ideas off of, have conversations, right and wrong. I mean,
Sure.
you need all that.
Sure. So we took the call with this guy together, and he explained it all to us. He said, you know, it can be really lucrative. We start small. We try to we end big, right? And so, now, so you know, we after the conversation, him and I, my buddy and I, his name's Ramsey, goes by Ramsey Slots.
Is that the Hispanic dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I see. Is he Mexican?
He's Mexican.
Okay, I just want to be respectful.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know, but I see him. I see you with him a ton.
Yeah, it's my boy, dude.
So is that who you started it with, or is that who you took the call with?
Yeah, so I took the call with Ramsey.
Okay, got it.
And so we both were like, hey, sounds good. Let's give it a try. And there was no, you know, after having the conversation, there was no real risk other than like, are we actually going to get paid after we do it? And month one goes by, we both do really well. We're separate.
Really well means what? What were you guys doing exactly?
So the goal was to sign people up through our links in our profiles for Bovada.
Okay.
And actually we had two sites at the time that Bovada owns, Ignition and Bovada. So we're working with those. And the conversation went, hey, start with on a purely commission-based cycle with me. Let's do a month. It's going to be, you know, X amount of dollars for each person that signs up, that deposits on these sites that has never deposited or signed up before through your link, right? So they call them a first-time depositor, FTD. Okay. And so we did well. Both of us were in, you know, the mid to high 20s on signups for the first month. And then things started like spitballing. It's like, okay, well, you guys did really well this month. Let's talk about a guarantee because one of the things that they try to offer you is a percentage of people's losses, and I refuse to do it. I can't. Like, I just can't rightfully, with the morality that I've been raised with, go into a situation where I'm coaxing people into gambling and then I'm making money off the money that they're losing out of their own pockets.
It's not who you are.
Yeah, so
I know a lot of people that don't know you might think that, but
Sure.
it's really good to know that.
Yeah, no, I would never and have never taken a deal like that. In fact, I've turned down very lucrative deals where they're like, we'll give you 50% of players' losses. I mean, I know that my players have lost money on these casinos.
Casinos are only around because people are losing, brother. It's not because they're winning.
So, you know, not taking deals like that hurts me financially, technically. It doesn't, you know, in theory, but the opportunity cost is there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but morality wise, it's not something that I'm comfortable.
So they wanted to give you guys a guarantee.
So they gave us a guarantee, and then things really like kind of took off.
Pretty much as like a salary.
It's a salary, monthly salary guaranteed, no matter what, whatever our number is. Now, look, if you don't perform, that guarantee gets taken away and it's back to square one. But luckily performance is there. The one thing that you have to be careful of is saturation or oversaturation. So if you're promoting for anything and you have set amount of followers and they say you can, you know, whatever your rate is of conversion, your conversion rate of number of followers versus how many people click on your link is really low. It's less than 1% normally, right? And so you are eventually going to, unless you grow really fast, which is hard.
Yeah.
You're eventually going to saturate your entire following. So what's the next move? So then you open a new site, or you are open to moving to a new site, and then you try to leverage that. You take it to a new online casino, tell them what you've been able to do, show them your value. Then you're getting the same people to sign up for a different casino. And
SlotDaddy's doing more than just like online gambling. I mean, you just were talking about you know, a marketing commercial that you had just filmed for who was it again?
Saquon. So
yeah, for Saquon, which you can't film inside Saquon.
I can film inside Saquon. I can't record gambling in Saquon.
Okay, got it.
And I can't record people, so I can't.
But they still want a piece of SlotDaddy.
They do. So Saquon actually reached out about a year ago for like they wanted to do a meet and greet. So like they were gonna get a number of slot channels or gambling influencers to come to Saquon. And the tribal commission ended up not approving it. So I was working with one of their marketing directors and ended up just saying, oh, you know, like I see you guys have all these tastemaker influencer type people come in and do like videos of the facilities, the amenities, the rooms, the pool, the spa. And so they're like, yeah, we do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That's a good idea. It's a good starting point. And so at the end of the year in December, I took my wife, we got a room, we had a comp dinner, we had massages, and we walked around the property and just took like basically B-roll footage of the property.
Just hanging, using Saquon, the whole nine.
Sure. And so it's of course I gambled. I didn't record any of it because they don't want me to.
Yeah.
You know, it's great because it's another avenue where I didn't have to go there and gamble.
It's just
That's a
another
choice.
revenue stream for you.
Absolutely. So now I think promotion of, you know, certainly land-based casinos is going to be something that will become my bread and butter. That's the goal. If you can get paid to gamble, you have made it as a slot streamer, right? Like that's the goal. We invest our own money to build,
Yeah.
and then ultimately, I know for a fact, and I'm not going to say names, that some of the bigger channels out there are getting $10,000 to $50,000 to make appearances at casinos. Not to mention the ungodly amount of free play that they're receiving.
So it's no different than Lil Wayne or a rapper going and showing up at a club and they're like, "Yeah, you got to drop a bag, $150,000 bag just for me to get through the doors."
Totally. But the thing is, you have to think about the niche, right? So online casinos, let's go back to online for a second, started out by having people like Instagram models post for them, and their conversion was dog shit. They got nothing because those followers aren't there to gamble.
Yeah, and
My followers are
the chicks.
there to gamble. You know, Harrah's they elect a mayor every year of Funner, California, and it's Martin Short, or I don't know, the lesbian chick from Glee,
Yeah,
big lady, Jane, that's her name. Sorry,
that's who like you see on the posters.
yeah. So like they elect the mayor of Funner, California, and but what draw does that individual have to bring gamblers into your casino?
Not much.
None. And sure, is the idea gamblers are going to be there no matter what? We want to attract other people that'll come spend $5.
Yeah,
Cool, I get it. But if you really want to bring gamblers into your casino, you have a gambler promote it, right?
100%. Yeah.
And so I saw that and I was like, they're going to catch on. And I think I'm still in the very beginning of all of this, dude. I think I'm early on. If I can build and continue growing, I think the possibilities are endless because all of these casinos that wouldn't let me film are now bringing in slot streamers and paying them. The AOS did it just the other day. So think about that.
So they're catching on to the concept.
There it is.
And one thing you talked about is like, and I think this is in any industry, right? It's really important to make sure that you're dealing with people within that industry. Like you said, if you want to get gamblers to a casino, you have to deal with somebody who gambles and has an online presence, and that's why people are there, right? No different than lending, right? There's a lot of people who talk to me on the lending side, and I'll show them numbers or show them how to consolidate debt or put them in a better financial position, and that person will say, okay, well, I got to talk to my CPA or I got to talk to my, and I'm like, what does your lawyer have to do with your home or your debts or how many times you swipe your credit card? This isn't what they do, you know? So very, very similar. Now, one thing I want to touch on is I love your videos that you take where you have your phone and people are like watching you, because you become a celebrity at casinos, right? So you walk in.
It's the only place.
Huh?
It's the only place that
I know. So you walk into casinos, people know who you are. There are obviously people following you on social media, so they're kind of struck. Like,
yeah, you met me at Harrah's that one day. You saw it firsthand, huh?
Yeah, it was a trip, right? Like I trip out because you're just one of my buds. Obviously, I don't spend a ton of time at the casino, but a few times a year I'll meet you guys out there for something fun, and then I kind of get to see you in your element. So what's, aside, I know you're married and stuff, but have you had any bizarre requests? Online?
I mean, I get asked for money every single day. Somebody in my DMs asks, like, hey, I'm having a really tough time. Can you help me out? And like, truthfully, some of them are people that I have like online relationships with, as far as like I've conversed with this person in my DMs before. Most of it is random people that see you gambling and say like, man, this guy's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they just shoot their shot. And the craziest requests are like, hey, can you send me some money? I'm at the casino right now. I lost my ass. And I'm like, dude, no, I'm not here to support your gambling habit. What the hell's wrong with you? Nobody sends me money to go gamble for myself. Like, that's insane. And especially after I made dumb decisions and lost it all. Like, that's not the way to do things. I've definitely had like, the random girl, say some stuff that, I definitely.
There's always temptation.
Always show the wife the DM from the female stranger that's like, hey, you're hot.
Yeah, so you at least got to talk about it, so you're not in trouble if
exactly.
Fine.
I don't want to hide anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we are.
I've had that, and I've had a lot of like, I've had like 90-year-old ladies come and like rub my shoulders while I'm gambling, and like be like, can I have $40?
Yeah, they want a piece of SlotDaddy.
I'm like, no. But yeah, it's nothing nothing completely out of the, realm of reality. It's all standard stuff that you would imagine that would happen, right? And like, but it was a trip, the first couple times being recognized. The first time I got recognized was in the high limit room at the Austin. I just heard somebody say "Slot Daddy," and I wasn't even on camera that much back then. Like now, I try to put myself, and that's actually going back to talking about how Reels helped me build. Reels don't do shit anymore. You actually have to be on camera. People want to see people. Like,
Yeah.
we're done, I think, as a society, scrolling through and looking at shit on a camera. We want to see somebody show us the stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so, and you're seeing that trend kind of as I grow. That the more I'm engaging with the audience personally, with my face and with my voice, rather than just playing a video of a slot machine bonus going with music over it.
Yes.
Those videos do way better.
Well,
Like
that's
me
a-
with the dog.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because like one thing that I've realized too in the real estate game and lending, mortgage, whatever you want to call it, is like I have real estate agents or other lenders that I follow or follow me, and I'll take a look at their page. And I love the fact that they're posting a ton, but there's just like there's posts that just don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did you figure out, meaningful post and like how did you start to catch on to that side of things? Because there's videos that I post that get more views and others don't, right? And then I try to figure out why, right?
Mhm.
What was catchy, what were more people interested in at that time. So like how did you start to figure that out, that people wanted to see you more, and which is rare, and not the machine.
Your brother made a joke the other day. I was at
Oh yeah, by the way, shout out Mondo, man. I haven't
Mondo.
shout out my older brother on
Ever?
the podcast. Big supporter. I talked to him on
Does
the
he support you?
hell yeah, big
He's
supporter.
never listened to your podcast.
Dude, my
He
brother's
told me.
a huge supporter. I talked to him on the way down. I told him that you were coming in, and he was stoked on it. He told me to make sure we hit him up on the way out. But anyways, you're talking about my older brother.
We were at a dive bar together a couple months ago, and like obviously, getting older, had a kid, had the dad bod going and everything, and I was like, man, that bartender is a female bartender, and I was like, she hasn't looked at me once, man. I can't get a drink. There's nobody in here. What the hell's going on? He's like, sucks, doesn't it, buddy? Like, welcome to old age. And I'm like, God damn it.
Well, I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, we've gone places and like, I don't even drink anymore, but even getting like a Coke or something from the bar, I'm like, if I got to wait another minute, we're out of here, girl. Like, I've never waited. We were just very lucky, born and raised for the most part in San Diego.
Yep.
We were just that young crew that we had a ton of relationships, right?
Sure.
I mean, Grant, to kind of shift things, take things back, talking about standing in line and kind of like going out in that life, right? I mean, we really enjoyed our 20s, but we got to enjoy it probably not like other 20-year-olds, right? I mean, we were doing 24-hour trips to Vegas with the band and the bus. Remember that Hard Rock night? I mean,
Yep.
you guys were, there was so much going on back then. Tell me a little bit more about the about how you started that.
I always thought to myself that if you have to pay for these experiences, you're not cool.
And you hated going to bars.
No, I didn't hate it, but yeah, in the beginning, it was I'd rather do other things.
Yes.
But my thought process was always like, the guys at the club that are at the table, they're paying $5,000 to be there, are a lot less cool than the guys at the club with the same table right next to them with more girls that paid $500 to be there.
Yeah.
And so I always called it balling on a budget, because we managed to make so many connections, one with people that we were friends with that were tied into the nightclub industry, me with, managing a band, building relationships, networking through that. So then we got, we started getting plugged with places that had live venues, live music. It just all kind of went.
We were
hand in
everywhere.
hand. Yep.
And we didn't wait in line anywhere in San Diego. And
No.
I'm not just talking San Diego, I'm talking Los Angeles.
Vegas.
I'm talking Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really well connected.
I'm not connected at all anymore.
And we didn't and listen, we barely had any money in our bank account.
Nothing.
But we were living
I was
large.
going out with $20 and making it home
Dude,
with $20.
It felt like we were living large.
Yeah, we were. I said balling on a budget, man. I mean, we'd go to Vegas, we would also leverage the opportunities, right? Like if the band was playing in a city, we knew that the hotel rooms were covered and the transportation was covered, and we'd go to the green room and we'd eat, we'd drink for free, everything was there.
But not just you guys. I mean, you spread the love, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Took care of
there's
everyone.
so many times where the jumping turtle in San Marcos to
Doesn't exist.
to Hard Rock Oh, it doesn't anymore?
No, no.
To them playing down at the Hard Rock, right? It's like we all got to enjoy those experiences together. Um, at no time did you get big headed and say like, "Hey, this is our thing," right? Like
No.
you brought like the true. Your vision was to bring everybody with you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, moving here at a young age with just my parents and my brother, my friends became my family almost overnight. I
And
mean,
you met most of your friends where on the football field?
football field, a lot of people. A lot on the football field, a lot in school, obviously, but most of my friends that I have today have been with me since elementary, middle school.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, it became family. We had an open door policy at the Beatrix household. Anybody could come in,
And that's
anybody
a
could stay.
true open door policy. I was thinking about that this morning on my way to the gym, and I was like, man, like your parents have always been so welcoming. I have so many great memories at your house when they were home, some better memories when they weren't home.
We did it all.
Back in the day of us
Yeah.
throwing parties and having fun. But I mean, even just barbecuing in the backyard. I mean, coming in, your parents in the living room, right? It wasn't like a walk through and just say hi real quick, right? You sat down, you chatted with them.
Well, they actually got pissed if you didn't.
Yeah.
if you
I mean,
didn't show.
it was always about having conversations. They wanted to know what was going on in everybody's
Yep.
lives because they were interested in who their son was hanging out with.
Yep.
Right.
And there was always a warm plate of food for somebody. Always a bed to sleep in.
Always.
I know that my parents probably did more than they could have at the time, right?
Yeah.
Financially, and
Absolutely.
helped a lot. And I know that, they put up 3 separate friends for months or even years.
Yeah.
Right? In my home, they live with me like they're my brothers. So that was a cool way to grow up. And I think that they embraced the fact that my brother and I used our friend group as our extended family.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have it. We didn't have the cousins and aunts and uncles like everybody else does.
Yeah.
They're all back thousands and thousands of miles away.
But that's why we have and I'm not just talking about you and I mean, people, watching this don't understand the scope of kind of our friends and our group. But I mean, we got, a group of 7 to 10 guys that we've all been around since elementary school. And we're still kind of, we might not see each other as much as we like to, right? Guys are in different states and stuff, but
now the one guy in the different state, who gives a shit?
yeah,
about
J5, shout out J5. But to talk a little bit more about the band, right, and just so viewers understand what we're talking about. So I lost my cousin. Was it back 2018 now?
2008, buddy.
2008. I lost my cousin Charles on his 20th birthday. One of Grant's best friends. We grew up playing Pop Warner together. My cousin and I were 6 months apart, and then our friend Evan and Grant. How did that? I don't even know how. I mean, Charles passed, right? And we're all grieving.
Yep.
It all that stuff happens, and then how did Man Down come about?
Yeah, so Charles always was pushing Evan to sing and play guitar and stuff, and so Evan's dad was a phenomenal.
By the way, I'm really happy we could talk about Charles.
Yeah, me too. R.I.P. to Kenny Hawkins, but Evan's dad was a phenomenal guitarist and musician.
Yeah,
played. I think he played with Marvin Gaye. I think he played with the Temptations.
100%.
Don't quote me, but I believe so. And so
Evan, hey, Mr. Hawkins,
he's the man.
Smooth, brother.
He's the man. He could pick up any woman he wanted.
he is smooth.
We called him GLK, good looking Kenny.
Yeah, there you go. He smelled great.
Yeah, he always smelled good.
Cologne was
dressed nice.
Yeah.
So Evan's dad is extremely musically gifted, and it just came naturally to Evan. Evan's brother was a great singer. He was in choir, and so Evan never did any of those things. He was out on dirt bikes breaking his both wrists at the same time.
Oh gosh, dang.
And so I think Charles was a big push. Greg Gershman, another guy's a big push for Evan. And when Evan lost, a friend like Charles, that close of a friend who always supported him and pushed him, I think it just came naturally to him. He wrote the song "Man Down," dedicated it to Charles. It was all about Charles, and that was the first track of Through the Roots, which is cool because now they're doing amazing things, right? And so to have your cousin's passing lead to something great for 5 guys that have been doing this for 20 years now almost, right?
Yeah.
16 years. It's long enough.
It was something that always made me proud. It's like, the times of, you know, the band coming up to Santa Barbara and sleeping in my living room and that bus
Building a stage in Isla Vista and just
building stages in Isla Vista, right? meeting Radical RP, right?
yeah,
like
connecting us to the revolution.
yeah,
and
I mean,
just
it
building.
literally just took off, and it started in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had a 2-bedroom apartment. I mean, you would come up a lot of times, right? Mostly
Every
for the
time.
shows, but I feel like the band was there for sometimes like
Yeah,
4
they
or
would
5
hang
days
out
at a
for
time.
longer,
Yeah, they'd
yeah.
hang out a little
I
bit
would
longer.
be working and then drive up after work.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd always be making
They
trips.
started at 9 p.m.
But the band was up hanging. But like one of the things is like, yeah, just for a long time, you know, they'd always get on stage. It didn't matter how big they got, and they'd sing "Man Down," and they let the crowd know how it was started. And
Yep.
you know, for my family and I, it's something that has always meant a lot to us. But I, you know, knowing you, Grant, right, and even all of our friends who will watch this and laugh at us, right? Grant and Dre on a podcast together, but you know, you've done a lot in a short amount of time, right? We have a lot of life to live, and you know, from an early age, you went from managing a band and making them extremely successful by building the same relationships that you're building with casinos, by building the same relationships that you're building, you know, in your 9 to 5 and your everyday business.
The crazy thing is that it ties in today, right? Like, I knew that as a band manager, if we needed a quick money grab, call a casino. Like, if you need money, go play at a casino. They'll pay you. They pay you well. Why? Because they have massive budgets to bring people through the door. So a band that brings people through the door is like great value to a casino. So I knew going into Slot Daddy that who has the most money for marketing and advertising
Casinos.
in the world? Casinos. That's all they do. Every NFL game, every basketball game, it doesn't matter. You're gonna see either signage on the field or on the goalpost. It says Pachanga on the Lakers goalpost.
Yeah.
The fucking Lakers.
Yeah.
Pachanga is a little local casino. That's not like a Caesars or an MGM that everyone knows the name. It's
100%.
Pachanga in San Diego, and it says Pachanga on the Lakers.
Yeah, I didn't
Nationally
realize that.
televised goalpost. Is that what they call it? A goalpost for a basketball hoop? On the hoop. It says it on the hoop,
Bro,
motherfucker.
I was thinking football. I'm
Yeah,
like, what are you
sorry.
talking about?
Lakers hoop on the post of the hoop. It says
Yeah.
Pachanga, which is insane. But that's how much money they have, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, a little bit more about the band, and I know we
Sure,
don't want to
sure.
go
No,
into
you're
it too
good.
much, but tell me a little bit more, right? I mean, I know it started in Santa Barbara. You know, you connected with RP. You guys got in with Iration or Revolution right
Both.
away, like
Yeah, both. RP was boys with those guys.
because he was
RP.
from Hawaii,
Yeah.
and there was just a connection.
He
there.
helped all the bands get to Hawaii. That was like his thing. He's a massive promoter in Hawaii that went to school at UCSB.
Yeah.
So he became a promoter in Santa Barbara at those old nightclubs at like Soho. and
Yeah,
whatever.
100%. Yeah,
Um,
in downtown on State Street.
Yeah, what was the other one? Sandbar.
Yeah, Sandbar was down there. I got a minor in possession of a Bud Light at Sandbar.
Nice.
Free
I
shout
met
out to
Kiefer Sutherland at Sandbar and Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love owned it at the time.
the basketball player.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Huh? No, basketball. Jordan Love.
UCLA,
Yeah.
big white guy.
Or no, not Love. Jordan Farmar. But yeah. He was a basketball player though.
Okay.
Him and a couple other guys.
Michael Jordan, I know, had a piece in Sandbar.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Everybody had
Something like
something at one point. Anyways, long story short, so we really, the first show we booked, I walked down Garnett and PB and because that's why they asked me to be their manager. They weren't 21 yet. So I walked down Garnett and I was popping into.
Yeah, and pause. Grant is, I don't even, what are you, 2 years older than me? You're my brother's age, right? 37. Okay, yeah, so Grant's like a year and a half, almost 2 years older than me. He was like, he always looked older than all of us, but he was the first one who had his license. Shout out the Honda Civic. Dude, this guy was driving around. His brakes went out. Listen,
They fell out of the car.
yeah, see, his brakes went out. We are
They didn't
doing,
go out. They fell off the fucking rotors.
So, we are literally with a fake ID picking up like 40s of Old English, like back in the day, using the
Only
emergency.
the e-brake.
Only the e-brake, but he had some bangers in the.
I had a $5,000 sound system.
Dude,
and
the sound system was more than the car.
and a $1,500 car.
Oh, no doubt about it. But we were rocking.
Oh yeah. That's why the brakes fell out. The subs were too heavy.
Yeah, so anyway, they were just rad. It was a mess. I remember, dude, you'd
Complete
play
mess.
music, bro, and I'd just be in there itching
Yeah.
my nose the whole time.
And we had the PA. We were talking to people.
Oh, I forgot about the PA.
And Mikey Dudley being in the front seat. Let's race, motherfucker. The
Yeah,
Porsches.
I
And
forgot about that.
Hell, you remember when you took a roll of masking tape and made pinstripes down my car, down the front of the Honda Civic,
freaking Honda
and then wrote
Civic.
"Race Me" on the back the back window,
dude.
and then he was talking to everyone on the PA system.
So anyways, I'm sorry to take you down that path, but anyways, so you were saying that because you were the only one 21 at the time.
Yeah, so I walked down Garnett and was just going into any venue or club that had a stage that I knew played live music, and I wasn't really big into going out, so I had no relationships. And most of the people, either doors were closed, there was nobody that, like, there's just like people like cleaning. It was midday. It was stupid. But I walked into 710 Beach Club. There's a guy sitting at the bar working on like on a piece of paper. He was working. He looked like he worked there. And I said, "Hi, excuse me. My name's Grant. I'm managing a reggae band that's just starting out. We're trying to get exposure in San Diego. Would you guys be open to us playing here?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's what we do. Like, we bring new bands in, try it out." But he's like, "You could have just emailed us." And he's like, "You didn't have to walk in the door." But he's like, "It's pretty funny. Like,
Yeah.
no one's ever booked a show this way."
Yeah, you're just old school. Yeah, you were like, "Hey, I might as well just go shake hands, and that's how I'm gonna do it."
Yeah, man. I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't big on emails yet. Like, I was doing accounting stuff for, like, that was the day job. I was doing like bookkeeping, so I didn't have to email anybody. I didn't know how to network yet. So that was it. I just did it. And so we got a show. That was the first show. We had to sell tickets to be able to perform.
Yeah.
And we sold like 30 tickets to our friends and family.
Yeah, I remember 710. A lot of shows at Typhoon.
Yeah. That was later on, but that was the first one. That was the first gig that I booked as the manager. And from there it was like, how do we get exposure? And we knew what Revolution did. We knew that Revolution did the Isla Vista model. They played at the Marley House as much as they possibly could. Their crowd started getting so big they'd have to bring in like SWAT teams and shit to break it up.
Gosh, I forgot about the Marley House. Gosh.
And so we said, why not just do that? And so we did that, dude. We went to U of A, ASU, Chico, Santa Barbara. We just went and played at frat houses, on the street, wherever we could. And we loaded up a trailer with a bunch of lumber, and Evan and Taylor Boatwright would sit there and build the entire stage and break it down.
I remember
to
that.
the next spot.
And you guys pop it back in the trailer.
That was the tour, man. We'd go to visit all our friends in college. It was the dream, dude.
Yeah, and you guys, it felt like there was time, like I even felt like I went to college with some of these guys.
Yep.
Just because
None of them went to college.
Yeah, just everybody was in Santa Barbara sleeping in the living room, It's like, and I was cooking for the guys.
Mueller, we'd stay at Mueller's.
Oh yeah, Mules. Yeah, I forgot we had Mules' house.
We'd have to break up. We couldn't fit everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, we've definitely filled up a few living rooms, couches, and floors.
Bro, that feels like a freaking lifetime ago. Seeing the short bus parked in my driveway.
That's the other thing. I bought a old short school bus off of a auction website for $1,300, and that was their tour van for literally 10 years almost, dude.
That's not a joke.
That's not a joke. They painted it green because we kept getting tickets for driving a yellow bus.
They made it like reggae colors.
It was green and black, and they built bunk beds in it.
Bunk beds.
We took a trailer from one of our friends' dads, who we never paid him for it.
Yeah.
And we just went, and that thing finally caught fire in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and I got a call like, "Dude, the bus just burnt down."
I remember when the bus burnt down, brother. That was like, for me, I felt like I was like, "Damn,
we lost a member of the family."
Dude, the bus was I remember rolling around like an SD in that freaking.
Before we even toured with it, we'd take our friends around, look at Christmas lights.
Dude, we were having a ton of fun in that freaking thing.
We had people pay us for like, as like a limo service a couple times too. Like, we do anything to make money, dude.
Yeah, the short bus was the best, dude.
Always been doing that.
Grant, I wish we had more time, but I want to end with this, right? There's a lot of people that I know in this world, and when talking to you, right, it was so easy to get you on the pod. You're like, "Yeah, brother, no problem," right? But aside from that, like, I value loyalty today more than somebody's success, more than what people have, more than what people can do for me. I value loyalty, and you are one of my rare friends, and I know when I call, you'll always be there. If I need anything, you'll pick up the phone. There's very few times where I call you and you don't pick up.
That's because I hate getting roasted if I don't.
Yeah, because
answer the phone, Judas.
Yeah,
screen me again. What happens?
Oh yeah, I always leave you some good messages. But I just want to end it with, I love you. I appreciate you. You know, thanks for coming on the pod. It means a
Yeah.
ton to me. Mortgage Coach is looking for some sponsors, guys. You know, anybody looking to sponsor, get some marketing, you know, get some exposure for your business. It could be a coffee shop, it could be a local restaurant in North County, whatever it may be. We're looking for
Saquon Casino.
sponsorships. Yeah, Saquon Casino, no free
Hit us
shout
up.
outs. So feel free to reach out anytime. But Grant, SlotDaddySD is the Instagram handle.
That's everything.
Yeah.
All the socials, SlotDaddySD.
SlotDaddySD. And appreciate you coming on, bub.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Love you, buddy.